from the outside. Well, since I got this here pretty much where I want it, I got a tab on there, but I can tell this this whole piece here is up about 3/4 of an inch off the floorboard, and I want to try to make this flat across here. I think the only way to do it is to cut this bend this down to where it's flush on the floorboard, and then trim whatever I've got here so this will fit the bed, and then make my patch from there. So it'll look a little different. I think what I'm going to do is try to keep this the right hand piece there in the shape that it's in. So I got to cut this off across here on top, and I'm going to try to just trim that thing I got to that tab there. I'm going to cut it about halfway with a cutoff tool and bring this flat down onto the running board, so I can match that, and then I'll have to cut some of the top out. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do now, is try to get this to fit the running board better. Well, I cut this out, cleaned up the brackets good, and I've got it in here. It's right at the edge of the running board, kind of a match there, and I've got it flush there. So I need to weld this together, and I got to work on this a little. It's bent up, so I'm going to take a dolly and make that as smooth as I can, and then I'll probably cut this one here because that's pretty thin. I'm not sure, maybe I'll put a patch on the inside of this. Probably the best bet. Just put a patch on the inside, make it out of stainless so it won't rust, and try to fix this hole here. This one place here is where it got cut off, but it all looks good, and I can bolt this down flat. And this will give me a real nice bottom piece. I'll have to cut a little of this off. This one was cracked right here. You can see the crack there, but I've got it approximately the right shape. I'll clean this off, weld my crack up here, and get this into a good piece, and then we'll go to move to putting it into the Fender itself. I just realized that if I put this in my shirt pocket, I might be able to get you a little video of welding. I don't have my glasses on. I'm just tacking this real quick. It will burn right through. That popping you hear is the rust that I couldn't get all the way off. This is the back of the Fender. So I don't care what the weld looks like. I'm just lumping it on here. Now I'm running a little longer bead. Trying to get this all solid. Hopefully you saw some of that. So that's pretty good. Now I'm going to take my yeah, see that wasn't really too bad, but I got this one little tiny corner left here. If I can get this clamped up, I'll see if I can fix this just a little tiny spot at a time. That's doing pretty good. I'm just barely touching it. Now I'm kind of trying to build the area up around it. Just little tiny lumps. I think that's probably pretty good. I'm going to look over here at the other side, and it kind of penetrated all the way through. if I had to risk trying to put a weld on this side or not. Got a little burnout hole down here. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can put a little weld in it. Probably just going to burn through. Well, it's patching it. Pop that one through. Welder set on the lowest setting. Well, I'm going to try to put a little bead down here. I don't know how well this is focusing, probably not at all. Yeah, I'm able to put a little tiny bead on it because I've already welded it on the back. That's not bad. I'll take a wire brush to you to show you what it looks like. Well, that didn't look too bad. It's a pretty clean metal there with no holes in it. And this back here, it's a kind of a mess, but I can grind that up a little bit just to clean it. And you can see that one hole I burred in it there, right in this area. So I think this is going to be pretty good. It's welded up good enough. I can grind it down. Sound like I got delivery. Well, I flapper wheeled the whole thing down. You can see what this thing's terribly beat up. So now I'll take my hammer and dolly and straighten it out as best I can. But here's the patch I weld. I didn't do anything at the back here, but I got a pretty good groove in it. These holes that I patched up are not too bad. Gives you an idea how long it takes on this stuff. This is probably less than a square foot. I've been working on this for an hour, and I'm nowhere near done, but you can see there that I could weld this in like that, and I'd never be able to get this out really. And this was The whole fender's not like this. Some of it's quite a bit better, but you know, when you look at this is what the original was, and something that I've got up here, you know, it looks bad, but it's really not as bad as you would think. The original metal was much worse. So anyway, thought I'd just give you a little more detail of how to go about doing this stuff, or how I go about doing it. Next thing I'll get this dollied out pretty flat and determine where my final place is, and then I'll tack it in. Well, there we go. Not perfect, but a lot better than it was. Pretty straight. I think that's good enough to try to put it in there. It just takes a long time with a little curved dolly and a hammer. It'd look a lot better if I sanded it again. A lot of what looks like dents in there now is just rust. The dents are pretty much all gone. There's still some in it, but you never get this stuff perfect. But that's probably another 10 or 15 minutes of tacking on it. Now I'll go see if I can weld it in and get it in the right place. Well, there it is, tacked in. I've got it pretty close to matching here. I've got it right at the edge of my fender down here. This clamp is flat, and I just put a little bead on it here. That's pretty good. See if I can hit it right back in here. I'm doing this with my eyes closed. The wire stuck. Anyway, that's pretty much where everything needs to go. Looks like I've got this round rod pretty straight, good enough for a patch. And I've got to cut this area here off. See where that ragged tin foil is. Yeah, that won't look bad. I don't want to get any weld on the outside here, because I'm going to try to bring my patch in a curve over this. But I do have to cut this off. It's all bad anyway. But I'm going to leave as much of it there as I can. Right now I'll be working on this piece, getting it to line up. Like I say, I'll probably put a piece in the back here and tack this to it. And it's all super flexy right now, but this is where it starts going real slow. Guess first thing I'll try to cut some of this out of here, see what I can do about welding that 3/4 in there, or that 3/8 rod in there a little better. Well, I'm moving along here on this piece. I've got this bracket welded into here. It's good and strong. I did that so I could bend this outside out. I still could bend it some more. But anyway, I've got this piece here that was part of the front of this fender, and it's in pretty good shape. I cleaned it up. What I'm planning on doing is welding this up into here like that, mostly to get this kind of put a bracket in it and hold that shape. And I'm going to put this on the inside. This will bolt to the bed. This bottom piece of the bed is loose here, so I've cut that so it'll slide up about an inch. It'll come around in here. This will give me a flat mount to the bed. I've got the other piece of it here cut. This will go onto the bottom of it, and I can mount this into this bottom piece. But anyway, that's pretty good brackets. So what I'm going to do now is put this up in here and tack it, and just start on and filling this hole up. Alright, I got it tack welded pretty good here on the bottom, and I've got that piece in there. I need to lay another piece in it, but that metal's really thin. So what I'm going to try to do is just grind it off a little. I tried tacking this, but it burnt right through. But I need to get this piece solid, and I think that's what I'll do, is just try to spot that up, start here from the bottom, clamp it up here at the top, and just start at the bottom. I got a clamp laying here somewhere. Probably plenty of clamps. But this will kind of force this whole thing into some kind of a shape, and I can still reach in there with a dolly and kind of straighten this out a little bit. So that's what I'll do, weld that up, and then see if I can dolly this into a more perfect shape. I cut this out and cleaned it up pretty good here. I'm hoping I can put a piece I'm not sure what I can do. I probably could weld this up and grind it down to that shape. This is pretty strong right here, and I've got this tacked and clamped and pulled in, so I put another bracket in there. I had a heck of a time trying to get it to penetrate onto this side because this is rusty, but I did manage to get it pretty good in a couple places. I'll be able to clean that up once I can get to the other side. I started working on this big patch here. I kind of got it knocked down, and I've got this all cut out to pretty good metal. I think I'm going to cut this one right across here and along this the edge of this place here, so I can get a square patch. Put me a square patch in here. This will give me a fairly straight shot on this corner here. I actually got frustrated and turned up my voltage and wire speed, and I didn't care if I did burn through. Well, all of a sudden, because of voltage and wire speed, I'm laying pretty nice beads in here, even in holes. This was up here. You can see I just laid a piece of rod in it and tacked it, but it made a pretty nice weld. So part of it was probably I had my settings wrong on that welder. We'll see, I either burn a bunch of holes or I don't. But I can tell over there it is not really burning in. But I just wanted to tack this and make a bracket. So now I think I'd probably be better off with about a 2-inch piece here that I can curve and more or less get it into shape. Make it out of stainless. I don't really have any big pieces of this. They're big enough to do any holes, and I don't want to weld something on the back of it like here. That's really not a good idea, because water does get down in there and penetrate it, but I'll weld these up good on the back. Mostly I wanted this for this L bracket on the inside here, so I can throw a couple bolts in it and have it good to the frame. I'd like to just cut that bracket off there. I really don't need it if I've got a good one on the inside, and it looks kind of ugly, and I have to put a bolt in it, blah blah blah. So I think I'll just once I get these brackets sorted out, and put a bolt down here in the bottom of this piece, I'll hold it, and a bolt up in here, that'll hold it. And this I'm not really worried about. It's not going anywhere. And I'll also try to beat my curve out there a little bit more once I get this fender off. But I've got this in a shape now where it's all to the good metal. I wish I had a English wheel or something so I could make a pretty good piece. I don't, so I'm gonna have to make it out of 2-inch strips. I found out up here, if I put a big piece in, I have to cut it to curve it. I don't want to do that, so I'll try to make a 2-inch strip to go in that top place. I'll probably cut that little square out first and weld me a good patch in there, and then I'll try to make this 2-inch one. Well, I cut me a little, this piece here out of the piece of that front fender. It was curved the wrong way. I had one curved the right way, but anyway, it was it was a lot of work, so I decided I'd just put a big square piece in here, or a solid piece. This is my stainless. I cut it way too big, of course, but I'm going to put it up inside here and mark it. Yeah, that was a lot easier said than done. Can't really get it in. You see kind of where I got it marked right there. I'm going to try to make this round out of the bottom, and it needs to go up here to the top, about where that little line is there. So I'm going to have to, first thing is try to get this thing bent to the right shape, or a rough shape. I may weld something on it right here in the middle that I can hold on to it, stick it inside and hold it and mark it. But first thing, I got to bend this thing into a round shape. And really the only way I got of doing that is put it on the floor with a piece of pipe or something, and just try to get the long bend first, and once I got that, then I'll try to get the short bend. Well, this didn't really work out all that good. The idea was good, but when I have a big gap here, this one's pretty good. I could probably weld this together. I've got it sticking up a little bit right here in this corner, but I've got a pretty good gap right here. And curve is kind of not right. I've got it close. Actually, it looks real good right there. In fact, this is not too bad of a gap. Maybe I'll just clean up this little triangle up here so it'll go down flush. And this little tab that I left down in here, I can pound that in a little. I think that's where I need to weld it. And I can make this corner good and solid against that 3/8 and weld it in. Anyway, this is so thin. Now I can just move this around and make it fit that. The curve is actually not that bad. You know, I can put a little more curve in it. That's easy enough. Just put it on something and bend it like that. See, that helped it quite a bit right there. So that's what I got to do. Clean up this little corner right here. Probably ought to grind this down a little bit more. That's all pretty much flush across there. I'm going to grind this down some. I can always build it up, but if it's proud, I can't do much. So I'm going to grind up this corner, see what it looks like on this. Yeah, I can see there that it's, I've got a little piece of metal on it here, but that's just tin foil. So I need to grind a little hole in it right here and get this rod down, and then I'll try to tack this thing in. Well, there's the patch is welded in. I'm creeping over here in this corner. It's got a big lump in it. I don't know what the deal is with that, but there's no way really to fix it from the outside. So I'm gonna just leave that alone. I gotta dolly out this whole thing here and get it round before I finish welding. But I did a pretty good job on it, and I just stuck the little piece of filler rod in there and welded it in these little spots on that big gap, and that's doing pretty good. That's good enough to hold it and transfer the tension from one place to another. I filled some of this top part, but anyway, I'm gonna take a flapper wheel to it, clean it up a little, and show you my semi-final result. Well, that actually looks pretty good. I can see nice curves to it. Did that one lump there by the hole. I got a lot more stuff to fill. See, without this on it. See, it looks good. Got a nice shape to it. It's all around. Did a lot better job on that bottom than I did the top. But it's all gonna have to be bonded. If I would have did a good job on the top as the bottom, I could have probably left it with the welds. I don't know, I still gotta beat it out, so I may be able to salvage a lot of this. But it's ready to take off and pound it out, and I can work on this little bead here much easier when I'm got it off the car. I'm gonna fix this hole. So overall, this fender's done. I'll probably still have to beat that out some, but from a completely trashed piece of tin foil, it actually turned back into a custom fender for my little Dodge. I've got so much work to do on it. I really just don't know where to start. Yeah, look at it back here without a light in the way. Yeah, that looks nice. Very good. I got to do the bottom of that door. That's going to take some time. I'm going to make some little skirts to cover up that frame. I put my window in it, but now I got a good welder. I can weld this stuff up, make it look nice, and paint it on the inside. This won't be too much work. And then I just have to cut that fender off like an inch by where that tape is. I'll use the other side piece to make the brackets out of, like I did on the other fender. But pretty pleased with it, salvaged anyway. So like and subscribe, guys. Not the best job in the world, but it's just a rat rod.